So I've just recorded my video talking about the Marvels, which if you haven't seen, please go check out. I'll leave a link on screen and in the description. But I cannot talk about the Marvels, which, like I said, was a good film in that video, without talking about the MCU offering that came out on the same day that was infinitely better, that being the season finale of Loki Season 2. So I wanted to do a video on Season 2 of Loki as a whole and give my thoughts on it, because it's gone from me thinking it was pretty good to me not being sure if I liked it more than the first season to offering the greatest finale in any MCU TV series, and honestly one of the best TV finales I think I've ever seen, genuinely, and it seems like the internet all seems to be in agreement, which is nice for Marvel, because it doesn't happen very often these days. But this being different to an actual film, this being a series you can just stream without going to the cinemas, I will be going into full spoilers for the full season of this show, so if you haven't seen Loki Season 2, go and watch it. I'm not going to dice around spoilers here. I just want to give my general thoughts on the series as a whole. So please go watch it if you haven't already, because if you just get spoiled by hearing me talk about it, you're robbing yourself of a really good series. Genuinely, it's fantastic. One of Disney Plus's best offerings by far, which is also really good to say considering we got Ahsoka earlier this year, which is one of Disney Plus's other best offerings, at least in my opinion. So we've really had peak for Star Wars and Marvel TV this year. It feels good, man. It feels good. But yeah, let's just offer my thoughts overall. And I want to start first off by saying about how different the cinematography felt. That feels like a good place to start, because right from the very opening shots of Season 2 of Loki, you can tell there's different direction going on. This is not to give any criticism or anything towards Kate Herron or anyone else involved with the direction of Season 1. I thought Season 1 was brilliant and one of the best things in Phase 4 of the MCU, but you feel the change in direction going into Season 2. You feel that cinematography shift. There are some shots, especially in Episode 5 of Loki walking through the empty TVA, where the shots bounce and cut and cut and match cut. There's such thought that's been put into the direction that makes it stand out, and it was one thing that really drew me in right off the bat. I thought that was fantastic. It's framed brilliantly, it's shot brilliantly, it's very, very well executed. They know their scenery and the actors play around it to the fullest extent. But also, the characters, I think, were fantastic. I mean, we've got a lot of returning people. You've obviously got Loki, Sylvie, Mobius, etc. But you've also got new characters in the form of Ouroboros, or OB, played by Ke Huy Quan. I think is how you say his name. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering that, but he is phenomenal. I've got to give him all the credit in the world, because the energy that man has is unparalleled. He is one of the coolest characters in the series, and just watching him talk about it recently after the strike ended was just so cool. He's got that energy clearly just full on. Easily the best addition to the show, full stop. But I'm going to be careful here, because obviously Jonathan Majors right now is in a lot of bother, shall we say. There's stuff going on. At the time of making this, he's yet to stand trial for, what he's been accused of. I'm dancing around it because I don't really want to get into it in this video. It's a whole other thing, and if you want to know, you can look it up, or you already know. So I'm going to talk about this separate from all of that and talk about what I've seen on the screen, so please bear that in mind going forward. Performance-wise in this, seeing him pop up as Victor Timely, another variant of Kang, or He Who Remains, he absolutely smashed it out the park. That guy has got an acting range that is absolutely phenomenal. He was brilliant as He Who Remains. He lured me in instantly and had me thinking that Thanos had competition for my favourite MCU villain. He proved it even further in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And in Loki Season 2, playing another version of Kang, he aced it again. The kind of stuttering, back in the past version of Kang that was trying to bed in with everyone else and try and fit in with this futuristic time-protecting group was really cool. So seeing those two new characters in Obi and Victor Timely come in and blend in with the usual suspects, seeing some characters also evolve a lot. Ravonna is kind of a lot more independent and trying to do her own thing, even if she gets cast aside towards the end of the season. I'm intrigued to see if anything gets followed through with her on that. But it's particular Loki and Sylvie. I don't know how to feel about Sylvie, because for one thing, her haircut makes her very different, not just her personality in this, but even her haircut is just a signification of Sylvie evolving into her own person. Instead of feeling like this Loki alternate that's on the run, she doesn't really feel like a Loki at this point, to me personally. She uses some Loki powers at points, but she feels more like her own uniquely established character, and I mean that in the best way possible, because I really liked how Sophia Diamatino played her in this. I think she did a really good job. I just wonder if we could have got more of Sylvie. I don't know if I got enough of her to be happy. I don't know. I need to rewatch the season in full to get my full thoughts on it, but I really liked what Sophia offered in this kind of version of the series. I think she did a really, really good job with it. And seeing everyone bed together, as I said, was fantastic. But I have to give all the praise in the world to Tom Hiddleston, because that guy has proved why he's been Loki for so long, why he's become a fan favourite, and part of the reason as to why this show became as good as it did. Because especially in the last episode, the range of emotions that guy can portray, from comedy to anger to sadness to confidence to pride to everything, he bounces between things like it's effortless. He is so good and is genuinely mesmerising to watch, and I think it's part of the reason why that show stands out so much, because there are a lot of good leads. I know I talked about the Marvels, saying that Iman Vellani is a great comic book casting. Tom Hiddleston's up there as well as one of the best castings I've ever seen and one of the best performances in the MCU. He is genuinely phenomenal, and especially in episode 6, becoming the god of stories, seeing him admit to Sylvie previously that he just wants his friends to be okay, and then using that and saying, right, I've got to sacrifice myself in a way and sit at the end of time, controlling all the branches, forever alone, to make sure they're okay. If that's not character development, I don't know what is. I find it so funny that people were talking about hating Loki in the first season, how he was a character assassination, which I never felt, because if you were pulled out of your timeline and showed your entire future in the space of 20 minutes, wouldn't that change you? That was just the whole point, surely. They wanted to try and cut around the middleman and not have him have the exact same evolution across the show, because it'd be boring watching him do the same thing again. It's interesting to get a different portrayal, and I think the way it culminates, not just in how the show is organised, I mean, he literally says, for you, for all of us, to Sylvie and Mobius, in the same way he said it to Odin in the first Thor film. The first episode of this first series and the last episode of the second series are both called Glorious Purpose. It's this full circle thing for Loki where he finally achieves his glorious purpose, and I think it's done so phenomenally. The way he's performed it, the way it's framed, the way it's shot, the way the characters react, and on top of that, the way the music goes. Natalie Holt, one of the best comic book soundtracks I've ever heard, especially the way that the Loki Green theme is remixed, which if you don't know is the one that's dun 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 dun. That riff, or Hawkeye, I think it's called, actually being used in all different versions of the soundtrack right throughout, and just a lot of key little motifs just like that are so well done. The music elevates it so much more. It's one of the reasons that I love Star Wars in particular, because the soundtrack is like ethereal at times. It's so good. And it's also why I love the last episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, because she wrote the music for that too. And it's Boss over there as well. She writes some phenomenal soundtracks, and I am intrigued to see what else she can cook up outside of Loki now. They've kind of confirmed there won't be a third season of Loki, and I'm glad. I think that's a good way to end it. And honestly, if we never see Tom Hiddleston's Loki again, I won't be surprised, because it feels like a good culmination for his character. However, I think we'll probably see him in Avengers Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty, one or the other. He's the god of stories, he's watching over all the branches. If there's some kind of multiversal war, chances are he's going to hopefully try and do something and get involved, because we still don't know what's going on with Ravonna. Some big purple portal appeared in front of her, which might have been Alioth, I don't know, but we don't see how that's followed up. So if she appears again, chances are Loki will too. But as for everyone else, I really don't know. I mean, Mobius has said he's going to go off on his own little adventure. Sylvie, we don't really know, probably just going to live her own life. I really like a finale where you leave the characters all at good points, where if you don't see them again, it doesn't matter, but if you do, you'll also be happy to see them, to see what they've been up to. That's very hard to accomplish with a show, and with this one, it's done it perfectly. And I really cannot stop singing its praises enough. Just seeing all these different characters overlap and interact. And I also really, really like that it didn't shove Kang down your throat, because we had this variant in Victor Timely. It reminded you of Kang's presence and his importance in the story, but it didn't end the show by going, now here comes 50,000 Kangs. It's not that time yet. You've got Kang Dynasty to worry about that, and probably some films leading up to it. I'm glad that it focused on Loki and finished up that and explained how the multiverse exists. Because the idea was, oh, the timelines are branching, but is it going to work? What's going to happen to the multiverse? Now the multiverse exists. It's permanent. Loki's looking over it all, keeping the branches safe for the time being, and it now explains why the other universes can exist in tandem. I think it's very, very well done, and I just can't stop singing its praises enough. This is very much a rambling video. I'm pretty much at the end of what I want to say. It's very much just a case of me wanting to kind of verbalize what's on my brain. It is just so well done, and I'm so happy with it in execution. I think the show is absolutely brilliant, and I'm chuffed that they pulled it off. Because seeing it come to that ending, especially when, like I said, I wasn't sure in the middle episodes, like I was enjoying them, but I'm like, is this as good as season 1? I didn't really know. Seeing how it pays off, it's so hard for a TV finale sometimes to land it, and especially recently, Marvel TV has come under criticism for not having its finales often feel like finales, instead of just the epilogue of a movie that's been stretched out to 4 to 5 to 6 hours, and obviously Marvel have said they're going to try and fix that, especially with Daredevil Born Again. This felt like the best TV finale that Marvel's done. There are some finales that have been good, like I really liked WandaVision's finale, I liked Miss Marvel's finale. There are shows that have had strong endings, but this one's felt like the most definitive end to a show that I've seen, especially when most of them are pitched as limited series. They should end the series. They don't feel as definitive as this one did, and I really, really liked it. So there you go. That's my random, blurry, flurry, wordy, not worky thoughts of Loki Season 2. I hope you enjoyed my absolute barrage of random words being thrown at the camera for about 10 minutes. It's been really fun to talk about it, and I'm really trying to put more stuff out on this channel because I want to do more non-payday things. I'm really enjoying talking about stuff, so please hold me accountable. Keep asking me to make things on here, because if I'm not doing it, I will need the encouragement, because I just want to upload more on this channel. I'm really enjoying talking about things that aren't payday related, I'll be honest with you, whether it's gaming, films, whatever it'll be. I'm going to be excited to talk about it on here. And for one thing, expect some Doctor Who content later this month, because I will no doubt be making videos talking about the 60th anniversary specials, either week by week or at the end of them all. Obviously, I've got Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. If you don't watch that, I'll leave a link in the description. So I'll be doing weekly reviews on there anyway. So I may hesitate to do my own weekly reviews. I'll see. But something 60th anniversary related will come, no doubt. But until then, thank you all very much for watching, greatly appreciate it. I'll see if I can put out another video in the meantime in between if something comes to mind, we'll see. But thank you all for checking me out, I really appreciate this, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. So until the next one, look after yourselves, stay safe. My name was Troy, and these were my thoughts.